awesome.
Alrighty, looks like we're gonna have a very early game oriented matchup coming from the BSE side with their Seraphine Ash probably having a lot of poke damage out into the Nautilus and Kog'Maw. The big team fight side coming from PRE 500 Days of Preseason. Looks like they're gonna have a huge big difference in the bot lane of one team wanting to fight, one team wanting to poke out. We're gonna have to see the differences there. Mid lane looks like it's going to be a big old matchup of the Akali Galio. Looks like Akali's going to have a little bit of a struggle trying to get her big damage out coming from the Galio, a big mage tank. Not going to be able to do much damage out in there. We'll have to see how the game pans out, though.
Absolutely. It certainly looks like the BSE team certainly has a lot of AP on their side, so they really need to rely on this Ashe getting quite a bit of power if they're going to stand in this game, especially going into a Galio, which is very well built against AP comps.
Oh yeah. Galio's going to have a huge presence in this game. Looks like they're going to go for a big fights down bot, and they're going to focus a lot down there with that Galio ulti. The Galio resistances. He's going to have a hard time not being able to die in these big fights with teams. We're going to have to see how that goes. The Mordekaiser in top lane with a little bit of extra magic pen, though, is going to help out a lot. Looks like we have a little bit of a almost invade coming out, getting spotted out by the ward though down in the tri-bush of bot side. Guys are
Absolutely.
throwing
They
it
do
down
have a good,
real
very
quick.
good invade comp.
Looks like they're gonna commit down to the invade on the red side. Red side's gonna be coming up underneath the blue side, and Mordekaiser's roaming in a little quickly because I saw him on that ward. Looks like PRE is backing up just a little bit though.
And they are coming in through the bottom. Nautilus is a very potent threat in an invade, very easily going to be able to pick off any one of them, but they seem to be backing off and deciding not to commit. They didn't even drop a ward. And it looks like we're going to start the game just like normal.
Very excited to see where their Kha'Zix tries to focus all their pressure on too, because it's going to be a lot of looks like early game pressure from a Kha'Zix. So I would hope to see that we see that big assassin damage, big assassins items early and everywhere in the map. I'm excited to see where he tries to put that forward to, whether that be towards the mid lane to help the Galio roam, or whether that be towards top to let that Joga skill a little quicker. Getting some early trades out. Looks like in top lane catching him out in the top tri-bush, getting his passive immediately proc. Joga starting the E, so he gets a slow real quickly. The Conqueror's already popping out though, making the trade. Very Mordekaiser sided. They're popping pots already, both sides. Going to mid lane, looks like we have a little bit of a trade going between Galio and Suteyu. Oh, already a gank in the top. Flash is already forced onto the Mordekaiser. Kazi's already making it real quick up there. Looks like easy trades coming out in mid as well, though, with Suteyu getting a little low, though, from the Galio poke and tank. It's going to be a little hard for him to take those trades really early. Looks like W's
And it
getting
looks like we have
invaded
an
on the top.
invade on a Mumu. And it looks like Kha'Zix successfully pushed a Mumu out of his own jungle, and Kha'Zix may get this blue buff.
Early game pressure like that against the Mumu is going to really slow him down for that later power spike. That cause is going to hit his spikes early, and he's going to hit him hard. Looks like we have a big old trade coming out in the mid lane. Suti is popping his ignite a little early. Looks like he's going to commit to it with his Conqueror. His Conqueror's going to do a lot of damage here. He's backing off
Is
to
he
that passive procs. Oh, can't find the pick though. We have a bot lane or the top laner roaming in. It looks like a little too late, and Kha'Zix steals a blue buff from the Mumu.
absolutely. Oh, Galio almost went in. Very close. Either of the mid laners could very easily die. Kha'Zix is floating around the mid lane, and it looks like we have an engage on the bot side, but just a simple trade, and then we see in the top lane just a small trade, and they both back away.
Yeah, looks
Kha'Zix
like their bot lane's looking for the Nautilus is looking for the big fights, but they just can't get it with that Seraphine being able to slow and the Ashe being able to slow. The really good synergy there with the being able to root with only one shot of the E from Seraphine. Looks
and
like
mid lane
getting
very
Ollie
tense,
first
and
blood
they traded.
1-for-1 with that Galio Q being able to do a little bit of burn afterwards. Really close fights going on so far. Will we get a root out in the bot lane? The hook's hitting there though with the aftershocks. Ooh, immediate ignite flash and heal all burnt down on both sides. That was very,
The
very
Seraphine
red-sided
does
there.
survive.
Seraphine gets out very, very low. We'll have to see if we get a reset from her or not, or if she's going to try and sustain off that W healing.
Possibly looking to get that Kog'Maw, who is
Kog'Maw's looking
very
very
low at the time. It looks
simple
like
W.
Kog'Maw is going to back off and take a reset.
Looks like Blue Side's going to try and push that wave in, just get a little more pressure under their turret, onto the red side turret, make that Kog'Maw lose as much as he can. Kha'Zix is now cleared 3 out of the 4 buffs on the entire map, making them really strong. We have a level 4 Galio robe coming up to the top lane, the Aftershock being propped, and it looks like we get a Mordekaiser pick real early now. We have a really strong Galio teleporting back into lane. 2-1 Galio going back into the lane against the Akali with a 1-1.
Again, this Galio is going to be a very large threat against a primarily AP comp. If he gets ahead, there's going to be no stopping him.
100%. We'll have to see how this game rolls out, and I'm really curious to see what this Galio's first item is actually going to go into, whether that be in towards it. Maybe even I'm expecting almost an Everfrost even for more of a CC into the big AoEs that he can already pull off. We might even see more of a mandate, Imperial mandate coming out from the enemy from this Galio even. Many variable forces. Oh, here he comes back in. We're doing another simple
Galio
trade.
did just engage, but only for a short trade.
Looks due to you just can't do much about it. The Galio has so much tank, and the Aftershock prop makes those trades super hard for the Akali here, especially if you want to get that as much as he can out of the Conqueror. It just doesn't seem like he's going to get much of it. Mumu trying to roll him in, but Kazu's also nearby. Doesn't look like much of the gank can really happen here. Both sides are really close. Looks like Kazu's is going down for the bot side. The blue team is pinging Drake as if they suspect something down there. Ooh, we hit a nice clean Q onto the Galio in mid lane. Galio's going to try and walk it out. Gets the Aftershock proc with his W. Super U still chasing him down. The Conqueror is popping off. Hits the E, takes it back in. Woo, a shutdown gold already. Level 6. Looks like blue team's finding the red team taking on the dragon, though. Red team has it primarily low, but their Kha'Zix is also really low for this fight. The Nautilus finds a hook onto the Ashe. The Ashe is getting backing off, though. They give the Drake up, it looks like. Maybe go for a steal. Red team takes it over. Looks like they're taking a team fight, though. Then Kha'Zix, two flashes go down for Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix falls down. Everyone's finding onto the Nautilus. The Nautilus is a level 6 Akali, though, shredding up the fight. Kog'Maw, all 3 are dead. 2 kills to the Akali and 1 to the Ashe. Looks like we get a pickup in top side as well. This the blue side of the map, the BSE is taking a lot of fights here, and they're winning a whole bunch here, it looks like. So much for that Galio early pressure, I'd say.
Despite the red team getting the Mountain Drake, the blue team has claimed quite a massive lead with an over 2,000 gold advantage. We see a small skirmish up here in the top lane, but they decide to back away and not fully commit.
Looks like we have Akali looking a little low in the mid lane here against a full Galio with a full AP shield right now, looking a little scary for him. If he gets caught out, he might be dead. Oh, we got a gank coming in, though. The E does not get him away. The Justice Punch is connecting with the Akali, getting the double taunt off. Doesn't look like they can do much here. Galio slamming, almost about to kill Akali. Akali can't do much more without her ult. Kha'Zix already being nearby, and Cho'Gath roaming down from the top side. Ooh, and the flashy free engage.
Kill on the Akali.
Amumu's
running away, but probably about to get picked off by the Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath ults and gobbles up the Amumu.
A lot of shutdowns and re-engages of skirmishes are really going to cost this blue side of the map with their big lead that they have there. Might look for a little bit more safer play from the Amumu here. Bot lane's getting back into lane. Looks like they might be getting into a reset from the red side as well with the push that they've made there. Looks like Galio is going to be going into one of the new Hex Tech items for his first thing. We have a skirmish also going on in the top lane, though. Mordekaiser and Cho'Gath just fighting it out, duking it out. With Cho'Gath having no ulti, though, he can't really fully commit to this fight. Looks like we just have a little bit of a poke battle doing what our blue lanes. Bot lane does the best over here. Ashe and Seraphine, very big poke engage time from them. Looks like they're really slow and slippery to get away from with all those big slows and the big roots and stuns that you can pull off between the two of them. Looks like it's going to be a very hard lane for the red side bot lane. Looking like a bit of a vision battle. Looks like Mordekaiser being rolled on by the Kha'Zix. They have a big old skirmish here. The Cho'Gath might have his ulti up to then launch. It looks like he pulls him into the death round, though. 1v1 with the Kha'Zix and the Mordekaiser. And Mordekaiser turning this fight around big, but the Kha'Zix has ult and one-shots him there with Q.
It looks like the Ashe and the Seraphine roamed up to mid lane, and we see the Kog'Maw and the Nautilus taking quite the advantage of this. Going to shove a wave into their tower, possibly getting a turret plate. But it looks like they're about to be collapsed on by the Ashe and the Seraphine. Ashe ults out, and Kog'Maw flashes away. getting out. Ooh, we see a Seraphine ult bringing the Kog'Maw back in, and the Kog'Maw falls to the Ashe. Again, feeding that Ashe is going to be the most important part of this, because that Galio is already very strong, is going to be able to shut out a lot of these AP carries.
100%. Looks like
And it
we had
looks
a
like
really big of a little fight down there in bot lane, but with that Seraphine being able to walk down on top of the Ashes slow, it's almost always a guaranteed Seraphine route with that E. Looks like we had the Kha'Zix running into the mid lane and trying to find a gank, but can't connect the E or the W there. Looks like it's going to be a farming match down in bot lane right now, though. The Kog'Maw is still being behind, but 2 deaths still has a nice CS that for what he has there. Bot lane's still a little bit ahead, decently ahead in gold. The entire side of the map, we're ahead by just a little bit over 1.5k. A little under 1.5, excuse me.
we see another skirmish in the mid lane. Akali dashes to the Galio, but it only is a short trade, and they both back off.
Looks like Amumu is going to find some actions down in the bot lane, trying to make a re-engage onto this bot lane. Looks like he has the ultimate available, trying to make a big lockdown to the Nautilus. Nautilus might have to ulti to get away from it, but it doesn't look like he has a utility. He hooks onto the wall, but they can't find anything. Nice pressure down here. Might try and help them towards the new drag coming up really soon. Galio and Kha'Zix, though, are seen in the bot side of the river here. You might have a blue team collapse on the 2 of them up there. If they don't get out of there soon, or with their bot lane not roaming up, they might be a death into with a blue tide Drake.
The blue team is establishing their dominance and vision around the dragon. It's going to be very dangerous now for the blue team, for the red team to try and attempt it, especially with Kha'Zix put out of play, now killed. And it looks like we have another skirmish up in the top lane, but it's only a short trade. And it looks like the blue team is going to go back down and claim this Drake after getting the pick on the opposing jungler.
These really
And we will
early
see
picks
a 1-to-1 Drake match.
These really early picks and good picks onto that Kha'Zix there is going to be really nice for the blue side, because it's going to guarantee this Drake to try and put them back forward with that Infernal Drake pressure. Having that extra damage early is going to help them against not giving that to the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix with even more damage early is going to screw them over later. Blue team finishes off the dragon. Looks like Galio's trying to roam down a little bit, but they might end up getting himself caught out here if that too much of the slows and CC from the from blue side.
The clouds quicken. It looks like the soul of this game is going to be the wind Drake, or the cloud Drake.
Yeah, we're going to see probably a lot more play of our blue side wanting to focus down onto their ults, because they have more of those impactful ults of the Ashe are, and the Mordekaiser are, and even the Akali are. Mumu are, all of them being such huge team fights. They're going to be wanting to look for more of those Drakes to get more ulti cooldown and compared to the red side of the map.
Absolutely. So we see with their ults on the blue side, we see a lot of team fighting power, and on the red side, we see getting picks off. So it's going to be a challenge to see who can get these Drakes and who can make the most of their ultimate buffs.
100%, I agree there. With the Kha'Zix even being probably the one to benefit only from the move speed there, but he probably has the most impactful for the Cloud Soul itself. But it looks like we're gonna have another fight coming out in the middle with that Riftshell doing a big chunk. We got a double ult out from the blue side, both of them going down the Gallios being slammed over by the Akali ulti damage of percent max health being missing there. Big overwhelming Amumu are taking that fight over. Big picks coming off from there. Really good push potential from the jungler coming out on the blue side. It's looking like a very dominant of the Seraphine Ashe bot lane for the moment of the bot side of this most of the game. We'll see how that changes up with the Kog'Maw scaling into late game with that lethal tempo and the potential Kraken Slayer coming out of it. It looks like we have another fight going on with the Charm hitting the Kog'Maw in the backline, though. Our probably Tyra's getting a little chunked out. He's probably going to get nommed out by the choke out. The Ignite coming out, gets killed by Nautilus. Nautilus takes the kill. We got a 4-mana bot now. The Nautilus hook goes around the wall, pulls him into the Galio's taunt, and gets another pick out onto the bot lane. Just as I was saying how well they were doing, they just get 4-man down in bot lane classic of 2020. Debbie looks like they're going to try and defend
coming
off.
down to defend.
Taking a lot of damage and poke from that lethal tempo Kog'Maw. Looks like we have the Kha'Zix coming up onto that gamer though in the top lane. Doesn't look like much. Like Mordekaiser Q just dominates his health bar, tells him to sit back down where he came from. The red side taking down the bot lane turret though for first turret sold. Looks like they're taking this game's going back and forth, back and forth. We only have a 1K gold lead on a 3 kill up. Objectives are being split back and forth with a whole bunch of fights. That Galio R is really making a presence everywhere, and that TP from Cho'Gath made a difference in that bot lane fight there.
Absolutely, we see some more back and forth trades in the mid lane. But again, Akali is not going to want to make a big commitment. Oh, the Galio rushes in, but the Akali misses the E and cannot fight.
Everybody in the game's now arriving on their first mythic item, all besides looks like the Kog'Maw or the Kha'Zix and then the Kog'Maw even. A lot of them are reaching. We have a Sunfire Aegis from Shogoth in the top lane, which Sunfire has been a big upshaker in the meta with its new abilities onto it, being huge damage for some tanks, especially like Cho'Gath with one of his big immobilizing CCs like that. We got a Kraken Slayer coming out from the Ashe on the blue side. Going to be a lot of helpful damage into that Galio and into that Cho'Gath into the later games. Stu's gonna look like he's getting picked off a little bit. The Akali's gonna have to go invisible here against the Kha'Zix, who popping his ulti as well, though. Stu might be in a pickle if he's forced flash into the Cloud Drake speed to lock it out. Looks like we have a huge 3-man push going on in the mid lane trying to take out the blue side turret. We have a little bit of a skirmish going on the top lane. Doesn't look like it's going to account for much, though, on either side. Oh, looks like that guy wants to go back in. Mordekaiser's taking a huge slam down. He's taking about half his HP, though. He gets the R's for the extra stats, though, into the trap that Cho'Gath in. Takes some huge damage back on. That W shield is massive. One more Q slam. That might be it. There it is. Cho'Gath falls down with the Mordekaiser flash. He might get the turret for that one.
Meanwhile, during the fight, yes, the red team did take the tier 1 turret at the mid lane, but it looks like Akali and Seraphine and Ashe can push out, along with a Mumu coming in, to grab the other tier 1 turret in the mid lane. Kha'Zix comes to try and deter them off, but they do grab that red turret.
Looks like this game is going so back and forth. They both made a pick there for both of them getting a mid turret, both of them getting their top lane picks over here. It looks like it's going to be a huge back and forth game, back and forth, back and forth. We'll have to see how these mythic
It
item
looks
spikes
like
come out on
blue
every champ.
make it another turret. Looks like they back away and try to challenge for Dragon instead, which is coming up now.
The first Cloud Soul, or the first Cloud Drake of the Soul. Looks like they might get the pick on the Cosmic. They're forcing his E a little early there. The Ashe ulti flies out, hits the Nautilus right in the dome. They're going to see what they can make off of that. They get another pick. The Galio ulti coming back down to the Disrupted All. They can still get the pick off from the Nautilus. The Galio taunt comes off on the 2-2, makes it nice out. That's a huge Amumu ult. Huge. Oh, the charm from the Seraphine making it huge into the fight. Everyone goes down. It's a 1-for-5 there. Everyone's gone. Cloud Drake is easily secured by the blue team. This is going to be a huge difference now with a 4K gold lead. The objectives going down either side. They're going to get a huge push in mid lane as well with getting the bot turret as well. This is now where everyone's going to start getting a huge amount of gold for their new items.
This ace is absolutely devastating for the red team, possibly losing up to 2 turrets off of this, with the Mordekaiser now possibly going to take the Rift Herald without contestation, but first going up to the top turret to claim that one as well.
Yeah, that fight is where we really saw the blue team's team fight really shine out with the Akali ult chunking him down, the Ashe ult engaged on top of the Amumu 3-man into a Seraphine double charm. These huge team fights are going to be what everything the blue team is looking for. The red team tries to disrupt it, but I don't think they're going to have much of a chance, especially coming into late game with all those kill spikes and those 2 turrets going down.
Taking their 3rd turret, the blue team is up 7 kills and almost 5,000 gold. We see a small skirmish up here in the top lane. We see the Mordekaiser ults smacking around the Cho'Gath. The Cho'Gath cannot get away, does not have a turret to protect him, and it looks like the Cho'Gath very well might fall as he gets pulled back into the Mordekaiser, and the Mordekaiser gets a solo kill.
Yeah, that new Rift Maker on Mordekaiser is looking really strong with that new being in combat. Every second you get more damage and more damage. That passive's going to start shredding through anybody.
Seraphine gets jumped on by the Kha'Zix, but the Ashe ult comes in just in time. Oh, Kha'Zix gets caught out by the Seraphine ult and is decimated. We see a small conflict in the top lane where it looks like a Mumu is ready to dive the Kog'Maw and possibly a bait by the Mordekaiser. And we see that an ult by a Mumu locking down the Kog'Maw, but Nautilus comes in just in time, and we see a teleport in from the red side top laner, and there falls the Amumu. But in comes Seraphine with the Ashe to clean up all the kills. We see a Galio ulting in, possibly changing the tide of the fight. We see that now an Akali running away at her very last bits of health. The Nautilus is very well, almost dead. What are we going to see now? It looks like the Akali does fall. A nice shutdown for the Galio, but it looks like these two are going to fall as well. Ooh, Kha'Zix comes in trying to clean up the kills. Will he get it before Ashe
He's
tears him
greedy.
apart? And no, he does not make it.
Wow, we
What
saw
an
that fight go
intensely
really back
elongated
and
battle.
forth. Oh yeah, 100%. That was going back and forth on either side, as we've seen almost the entirety of the game here. That Akali, the Conquer healing, allowing them to sustain themselves in that fight for so long, and the abilities of the new Riftmaker as well, and making them just that much more viable throughout the fight. We see that as well on their Nautilus being able to survive for so long with the CC. Kha'Zix there getting a little tunnel vision at the end though, missing up those 2 kills there, trying to go for the Seraphine the entire time while the Ashe ran him down.
Absolutely. So the blue team is still holding quite a commanding lead. And even though that this Galio may have had a promising matchup in the beginning, he does not seem to be prospering very well, and we can see that this game is turning for the tide of the blue team. And we will see how it goes from here. 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it looks like they have a lot of gold poured into on the Ashe ADC on the blue side. It's going to make them really strong coming into the late game, especially now with the Kraken side. Oh, the Ashe gold coming from downtown, hitting a really long stun onto the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw gets picked out, and he's going down real quick. They might even continue this onto the Galio with the slow. The Charm hitting out 2 of them. Galio's forced his Zhonya's immediately. The Kazi jumps back in. It's a little questionable. He gets immediately exhausted out. Ooh, the Mordekaiser comes out of the Death Realm just perfectly timed to suck off the Justice Punch and save the Ashe. That fight went real quick. That was Ashe ultra looking perfect from I'm Probably Tired on the blue side. Getting a lot of good picks. We got another re-engage, though, comes back onto the Mordekaiser. The Mordekaiser is just so strong and so much damage coming back out from that Conqueror and the Riftmaker, making it just so one-sided. He started at half HP, and he's leaving with 3/4 while the enemies leave. They actually might try and orchestrate a dive here with 4 of them here, and that Cho'Gath and Nautilus being the only ones to defend their red turret. Looks like blue side's going to look for another push. The Nautilus still comes back out, though, pulling him into the tower. That healing is massive on the other side. Looks like Akali's going in all alone, 1v3 to dive, and gets eaten out under tower. A little bit questionable in the end, but still gets the kill out with the Ignite Burn at the end after the E-Snipe from the Seraphine. The 4th Drake of the game is actually coming back
Absolutely, we
up.
see all of them closing in on the Drake. The blue team probably going to have a commanding lead. With the Mordekaiser just teleporting in, we see it as a 4v4. We see Amumu engages, but then walks away. Very tense on both sides of the scuttle. Who's going to make the first move? It looks like we have the blue team starting the dragon, and the red team is stepping back for now. And it looks like the Galio engages, smacking up the backline and absolutely decimating. We see an Amumu ult trying to stop them, but the Galio ult comes in and everyone on the blue side is destroyed. We see Ashe trying to make a difference, but then trying to do so only gets snagged by the Galio. And we have not an ace because the Akali just came back up, but definitely a drastic defeat for the blue team. Very rough to see after leading for so long.
Those shutdown golds are going to make a huge difference, especially with the 600 shutdown battling going onto the Galio, or if that Ashe going straight down. It's going to make it really hard for them to make that comeback back. Now that Galio's going to have so much gold to spend. It looks like Akali's making a re-engage, though, trying to prevent them from making that Baron. Taking the E back in, has a second R, goes in, and goes a little wide on the Kog'Maw, though, who immediately forced them to use their W and start kiting out. Looks like they have to give up this Baron to the red team. The Cho'Gath is just zoning off the Akali. No ulti, though, so he can't do an immediate feast. Akali's getting a little low, though, from the Baron. It might be a little extra pick here to force him off the Baron. Akali's still looking. Seraphine's coming in right behind him. Seraphine has her ulti. Here comes a big ulti, 3-man ulti. It doesn't look like it turned much. It kills off the Kha'Zix, though, so they don't have a smite for this Baron. Looks like the blue team's going to try and fight over this Baron now with a huge Amumu ult coming out, getting 3 of them, finding 3. Looks like the Mordekaiser make a perfect ulti to save himself. The Ashe gets another kill, gets 2 kills. The Mordekaiser picks up another 2 on their own. They might try and take this Baron for their own. Big mistakes coming out on the red side of trying not to zone off that call. A little too little.
Amumu's massive AoE damage with the Sunfire Aegis and the ulti turned the tide of that fight in favor of the blue team.
Once again, we see some of these huge team fight ults coming out from both the Seraphine hitting 3 charms and the Mumu hitting a 3-man root stun. Being huge turnaround fights for this team, especially with no Cho'Gath on the enemy team to finish off any of the squishies. Our Ashe being able to provide huge AoE and huge true damage with the Kraken Slayer lethal tempo build. We're seeing a lot of success from big team fights.
All waves are pushing into the red side. With the Baron buff, the blue team can very easily get at least 3 turrets before the time wears out. But can they make
are a
proper
little
use of it?
spread. It looks like the blue team's a little spread thin, though, to make any much of a big push here that we have here. We have the Ashe resetting. It looks like to spend some of that newfound gold from that fight there. We had the 3 of the bot side, not including the Amumu, trying to invade on the enemy jungle, trying to prevent that Kha'Zix even more gold as little as they can. Looks like they have to split in the bot lane. Now with red team pushing out all these lanes once again, they have nothing else to do now. There's no objective, and they can't team fight now with the enemy team, with the blue team having the Baron buff. Doesn't look really well for the red team right now.
We see 3 of the blue team reinforcing the wave at the bottom, but it looks like they are going to take a reset and back away. We see
right
Ashe
now,
is then splitting top with the Baron buff, and we will see when someone goes to respond to that.
looks like right now it's just a farming game of the blue team using their Baron buff pretty wisely to try and get as much gold ahead as they can for the next team fight that will probably come out afterwards. Looks like they're going to be trying to make up for that new Drake also coming up not too long from now.
There are a lot of constant pushing threats that the red team does have to respond to or risk losing significant amounts of farm and falling even more significantly behind. Red team is already over 7,000 gold behind, which is quite a drastic amount. Over 1,000 gold per player. Not something you want to be seeing.
No, that's not at all, especially with the huge team fight that they had on the blue team. It doesn't look like they can get much of a team fight here to go on for them. We're kind of seeing a little bit of the opposite of what we wanted to see from the red team this game, of the Kha'Zix not being able to perform very well early and now putting him down 2-8 with that Duskblade coming out really late for him. That Duskblade spike being almost really a necessity against him. I would have liked to see a little more pressure onto the Cho'Gath in the top or even the Galio to help roam. But it looks like they just underperformed with the Galio early.
Absolutely. The red side really needed to depend on getting lots of picks off in this game, but we see that instead of picks left and right, we've seen constant team fights, that of which the blue team has been significantly dominating, with an over 10 kill lead, now 14 kills ahead, equal dragons, and 7,000 gold lead.
Looks like we're going to start getting a setup from the red side going down towards the next dragon with the Baron buff running out on the blue side. Looks like it's going to be another tried to be team fight. I'm excited to
Both
see
top
without...
laners do have teleport open and ready to come down at any point. We see a Mordekaiser trying to teleport down, but is interrupted by the Cho'Gath. We are at a bit of a standstill around this Drake, vying for vision. Red team does have a lot of vision and it is quite scary for the red team to go in at the moment. We see a bit of a conflict trying to push the Cho'Gath off from entering the scene. The Ashe ulting and missing the Cho'Gath. We see a start on the dragon from the red team, pulling it out. And looks like the red team may very well get this as the Galio pushes out and delays the blue team's arrival. But will the blue team get some compensation for this loss? We see that one has fallen, almost two. Cho'Gath makes 2 fallen for the red team. Quite a price to pay for winning that dragon.
Looks like the Akali was able to make some pressure in the backside, locking out all the Galio, Kha'Zix, and Kog'Maw all at the same time, keeping them from that team fight, making that Cho'Gath really soloed out against that blue team. Looks like they weren't able to get the fight they wanted a little early, giving up the now a second Cloud Drake to the red side of the map. These Drakes eventually are going to start adding up and making it really nice for the enemy Kha'Zix to have more move speed, and the cooldown for both the Nautilus and the Cho'Gath is going to make them skill a little harder into late game, but we'll have to see how it pans out.
Absolutely. Soul Point is quite a threat against the blue team, but the red team is having quite a lot of trouble responding to the threats all across the map, having almost every lane pushed in constantly, shoving into the red side base. We will see how this turns out from now. Back and forth defending of the top lane and the mid lane. We see a constant pushing threat, possibly a dive. It's 4v3 top. They may not want to take this fight, and it looks for now they're at a standstill, possibly disengaging.
Looks like it's going to be much of a vision war coming up for that Baron. That's not going to be too awful long from now. Everyone's trying to get a little bit more vision topside. Looks like they're trying to do some resets before that Baron timer comes a little up. Looks like we have a huge swarm of the red team, though, coming over just before the blue team, though, making it a little harder for them to set up their team fight on blue side a little early. Deadman McNugget all the way down in bot side trying to invade when the Baron is up on top side. A little questionable, the positioning there.
Well, Amumu could very well grab a tower in return if the red team does decide to attempt this Baron, which it seems they are backing off, and there seems to be a neutral amount of vision on the Baron. So it seems very unsafe for either team to make a first move, but the blue team does start to clear out the vision, possibly for a first move. But we see that the red team, Kha'Zix and Nautilus, moving in, trying to clear out some of that vision. We see they are waiting in the bushes, waiting to ambush, and it looks like the Kha'Zix does get caught out, hit with the Ashe ult, and lane. Another kill for the Akali, and the Akali is wailing on the Nautilus, but we see the ult come in from the Galio, disrupting the team fight, and ooh, we see lots of deaths on both sides. We see Seraphine fall, Galio fall, Kog'Maw fall, and it looks like the blue team has won this battle by the skin of their teeth.
It got really close there. That Galio was huge for the red side, trying to almost turn the entire fight, but the Ashe is such their primary target that they get so much into the Akali that the Ashe is decimating the back line. Looks like they're going to shred down this Baron with that extra true damage added in from the Kraken Slayer on the I'm probably tired. Cho'Gath looking like he wants to get a little bit of a contest, but not going to find much from the blue team. Blue team back with another Baron under their belt.
We see a Morellonomicon for Mordekaiser. More items getting bought by all of the blue team with their massive gold advantage, almost 10k now. They just hit the 10k gold advantage mark. Such a
Yeah,
drastic amount. That's 2,000 gold per player. Not something you want to be seeing on the red team.
a 16 kill difference between the two of them now with the two towers towards the blue side. They may have lost one Drake between the two of them with 2 to 3 right now, but that doesn't matter much as long as they're going to contest that soul point. Blue team is in a hugely good position right now. That soul point's actually going to be coming up within less than a minute right now. Looks like that the blue team's a little scattered on the top side, though. Might need to make the rotate bot before the red side does first. Galio's might make it back, but with his ulti, he can fly right back into any fight that he needs to for the moment.
Is blue team going to make very good use of this Baron buff? They seem not to be pushing very many lanes. We do see a Mordekaiser in the top lane starting to push out and creating a threat opposite to the Dragon. We'll see how the red team responds to this. We do
Yeah,
see the
Dragon
Kha'Zix around the Dragon in the bot lane.
Dragon coming up in 15 seconds now. Everyone's pinging it in the chat. Everyone's getting a little scared and wary of it. All the team blue side looking like they have more of the pressure. They actually might find a pick on the Kog'Maw. The Kog'Maw goes in on the Ashe thinking that they're alone, but he has 3 more. Oh, the Ashe goes wide though, forcing both Kha'Zix and Ashe flashes now from the beginning. Looks like the Akali's going to try and find the Kha'Zix alone. He starts his ult, hits the E, connects the E, and boom, immediately deleted without even having to use the second R. And then there's a Cloud Drake slain for the blue team. That makes it 3 to 3 on both. Makes
The
it
red
nice.
team
Look,
really did not have that team pressure to create a threat and vie for that dragon. We
they really
At the
needed
beginning
that
when the
Kog'Maw.
dragon spawned, there were 3 of them in the top lane to match the Mordekaiser. Not
A little
something you wanna be seeing on Soul Point.
that's a little bit concerning for that red team. Maybe they thought they could just give it up because it wasn't the blue team soul, but that's going to be a mistake in the end with more cooldown to that Ashe and Seraphine.
We do see the inhibitor turret for the mid lane fall on the red side with the blue team's Baron buff. They are making quite a use out of it, pushing into their base now. And we see another tower fall on the top lane, pushing on the top inhibitor turret for the red team. Quite a siege. And an
Looking
inhibitor falls
quite
in the mid lane.
huge pushes coming out for the blue side with that Baron buff being used really well for them. It looks like their entire red team's pushing onto that mid lane to make sure they don't get any more out of that inhib. Now they're going to have their own tower defense that they have with that inhib super minions flying down mid lane. Looks like they're going to make another push into the top lane. Galio's going to try and get into their face to shut them out a little bit, kill those minions off early before they get in there hard. Looks like it's going to be a 1v1 between the junglers. A 3-level difference, though, on the Amumu, almost one-shotting the Kha'Zix as a tank. Big differences of damage there. That Kha'Zix only being 2 and 10 against the 1 and 4 18 Amumu. Amumu are
Amumu
going down is big.
The red team really needs to find a pick here if they are going to survive, because in a full-out, full-committed team fight, they know that they cannot win. And it looks like Mordekaiser grabs a pull on the Kha'Zix, but is deterred, and we see that there is an Ashe ult. There comes the Galio ult smashing into the middle.
Huge.
The Seraphine ult ricocheting off all of the enemies, and they are all wiped out, and it looks like this very well might be the end of the game. The Galio possibly getting knocked out. Oh, Suteyu takes the fall from the turret, and Galio survives with that stopwatch.
But looks like this is a wrap. First game going to BSE for this against PRE. Looks like they're going to just focus straight down the Nexus. Might even try and find a quick pick onto the Galio. Galio doesn't look like he can 2v1. The Amumu are already coming up because of those Cloud Drakes. They shred down the lethal tempo Ashe Pew. Looks like one easy old game for blue team. 44 to 25.
The pressure on that game was with the blue side the whole time. The red
We
team could not respond to all their threats across the game.
we can see a huge ADC dominant meta here being shown off with the Ashe huge carry into the from mid to late game all the way through and through, not being able to focus down with that huge team fight of Seraphine and the poke coming out from Ashe ult, from Seraphine, from even the Mumu ult being ginormous. Huge differences
But
in
on
team
the
fights.
other side too, with the red team, we also saw the Kog'Maw being the primary carry with almost 300 CS and 1186 KDA.
It just came in. Looks like a little too late compared to the Ashe. Looks like BSC just had a little bit of a more team comp oriented fights, and they were able to implement that team a little bit better than the enemy. All right, we are seeing a very similar comp on the blue side again, or on the red side now. BSC having a very similar comp to last game with the Ashen Seraphine finding a lot of success last game. We'll see how they pull out this time.
We see a little bit more AD with the Yasuo this time instead of the Akali mid. It looks like on the opposing side we have a Poppy in the jungle. Going to be quite interesting. Presumably Echo mid and Cho'Gath top.
Yeah, I'm
See
really
how
excited
it plays
actually to see
out.
how they pull off a Poppy jungle. I wonder if they're going to go for more early pressure onto possibly trying to shut up the very mobile Yasuo and the not as much. I guess it's only purely going towards the Yasuo with the W block there. There's not much of a mobility besides him. I was focused probably more on the mid lane for them.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
All right.
Wondering how the bot lane matchup is now going to go with both sides being very, very oriented towards poke with the double Dark Harvest coming in from the blue side this time, opposed to the Glacial Augment Seraphine and the Lethal Tempo Ash again. We're going to have to see how much of a poke comp they can get out on either side and which one's going to dominate, who's going to get the better item spikes faster. I'm expecting from the very popular lethality build of MF going lethality going into the Eclipse,
Minions
being
have
very
spawned.
strong with the R, with the big bullet time R, the big double up damage. I'm expecting a lot of damage from it, especially with the Dark Harvest being able to proc on all those Qs. I'm also excited to see on the red side's jungle pathing of the Nunu being able to push in a really early a whole bunch with pressure into the top, pressure into the mid lane, especially for that level 6 for the Yasuo, another really easy knockupper to hit onto.
Looks like we're going to have a very peaceful beginning. Both starting bot side, going up to the top, so we will see how those junglers interact with each other when we get up there. For now, there's a little bit of trades in the mid lane, going quite aggressively in the beginning.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's just going to try and play a couple peaceful passes. Not really any lane really having the most excelling early game level ones, really. We're seeing a little bit of poke lane and bot lane just as it should be with the Brand MF and Ash Seraphine. Otherwise, I'm expecting probably a little bit more late game trades on either side. Big crits coming in from both those double ups onto the Ash and bot lane. Making nice poke though in mid lane. Yasuo's not really getting punished much for it though.
It looks like we see Yasuo possibly going in, but we see they both back off with a small trade. Mumu full clearing the bot side, now moving to top.
That's now the third crit we've seen hit onto that Ash with a double up from his fortune, getting a lot of easy damage on. Looks like the red side can't really do much in the bot lane for this early. We'll have to see how the jungler plays on either side of the map here. We get a look at a little bit of more than our other trades that we've seen so far. And the Mordekaiser in top lane doesn't amount for much though on either side. Big roots coming
It
down in
looks like
bot
we're
lane.
having an invade on the red, and ooh, Poppy comes in and with a first blood claiming Nunu's red. Absolutely
Electrocute
devastating for
Poppy.
Nunu in the beginning.
I wonder if this is going to be a lethality Poppy build that we're going to see this game, potentially with the Electrocute. I wonder if that's what they're going to go more for towards the mid lane or even engaging onto the bot lane, the double squishy no tank bot.
That is very possible with how well we've seen lethality junglers doing in this meta so far.
And with the added
We see
resistances of the Poppy's W already gives her already just built-in tank and huge CC. It could see a lot of success from it coming.
it looks like the red team is taking quite a lot of poke in all lanes, along with Nunu getting pushed out of her own jungle.
Can't say much about laning phases yet, but looks like mid lane for the red team's the only one doing super hot right now. Oh, we get a huge gank in coming over though. Gets another kill, or the first kill in the mid lane for Yasuo with the ignite, taking him down. Nice gank from the new. Looks like they're gonna have to focus a lot towards that mid lane or even trying to relief in the bot lane.
Ash is going back, almost poked to death by the brand, but it looks like the Misfortune is running out of mana and is probably too going to take a reset after pushing in this wave.
Looks like there's going to be a huge CS deficit in bot lane if we're looking. There's 27 CS on the MF to the 14 on the Ashe, making huge. That's 2 waves that they're behind. Looks like we get another kill up on top of them. Mordekaiser and Debbie picking up a kill onto the enemy Cho'Gath. These ganks from the Nunu are going to be really, really impactful for the red side here, trying to make these relief of not really much of a team fight or fighter lanes on either side besides potentially the Echo and mid lane. We'll have to see where they put all this pressure in later, though.
Absolutely. It looks like that the red team is pulling ahead by a 500 gold lead. It looks like top lane, the red team has double the CS. It looks like pushed in. The Cho'Gath is losing quite a bit of CS being pushed after being pushed out of lane. The Nunu is catching up to the Poppy in CS. Quite a quick clear compared to Poppy not having quite the consistently fast clear in the early game. Probably going to scale up later. In the mid, we see almost another double CS lead for the red team. So we will see where this leads.
Yeah, we're seeing both laners trade back and forth over and over. Echo just now getting a really nice trade, but we just see Yoth now getting level 6. We might see another engage. Seraphine and Ashe are both roaming up from bot side. Seraphine sitting in the bot side River Bush. We might try and see an engage, but the enemy bot lane's also roaming up as well. Mid lane, we might have a big skirmish going on. Nunu's about to find
Here's
him.
the
We're also trying to...
snowball.
Here it is. They're going in. They might try and find the one. The Seraphine finds them in the bot side, though. It looks like they might get the kill onto the Nunu. Nunu flash is burned. Almost burns to death, but the brand passive there. I'm probably tired finding the
Oh,
Poppy.
is engaged with no kills so far.
Ooh,
It
the
looks like we are having a
Mordekaiser, nice
skirmish up in the
flash.
top lane, and with Mordekaiser's ultimate, oh, it looks like the Cho'Gath did just get 6, but it's not enough to save him.
Immediately we're seeing a brand flash down in the bot side fight over here with the exhaust going down. Brand is immediately backing off. I'm probably tired picking up the kill onto the Echo, though. They're trying to chase the Poppy into the jungle, not looking too smart with after that Drake is up right now. It might be a really good call for them to try and take over this Drake in the bot side of the map. Really nice way to get them back into it now with the 1-0 Ashe, still down with 20 CS in the bot lane, but it wouldn't matter too much if they get this Drake and more pressure for it.
Red team taking quite a commanding lead, almost a 2k gold lead at 7 minutes with a dragon and a 3-kill lead, with most lanes having double the CS. Bot lane is a little bit behind, but still doing quite well, with Ashe having 1 kill as opposed to the Misfortune having none so far.
Misfortune, though, having that level 6 there was able to turn that fight really quickly. The red team still secures Dragon, but that Misfortune being level 6 compared to the Ashe's level 4 is going to be huge in these upcoming fights. Poppy finds a really nice push onto the wall, gets an easy pick off onto the Yasuo. Looks like the blue team's going to try and commit for even more. They whip the Q onto the Seraphine. Seraphine doesn't have any flash, so gets picked off and killed. That's 2 extra picks. They're turning that gold leader right back around. Now they're only 100 ahead, and it's not going to go too well if they keep farming out those lanes. That Misfortune might get an extra free tower plate in the bot lane here.
Yeah, Red was having quite the advantage in the beginning, but this one fight seemed to turn it all around with 3 extra kills for the blue team, now tying it up 4-4, just 1 minute later.
We're seeing an immediate sheen buy from the Poppy, and I'm expecting some nice big old damage here, whether that be even the probably the Trinity Force, I would probably assume, but it could be something different. I would be excited to see what we've seen the Mordekaiser engage once again onto the Cho'Gath. It's not looking too well for the Cho'Gath up in the top lane. 0-2 and down by over 30 CS now.
Absolutely. Nunu is on the Herald, but Poppy is also nearby, but it looks like Nunu is going to secure the Herald for now. Back to the
Little
bot lane, we
trades
see the
happening open.
Misfortune backing off.
Little
Having
trades
to take a
happening everywhere on
reset.
the map, but we're getting a nice engage though on both sides of the mid lane here. We might get a knock up into an Echo fight, but the Ignite goes down on the Echo and it looks like a disengage from both sides, not wanting to commit either way. Echo does have his R if he tries to take too much of a big fight though against this Yasuo. We got a bot lane pushing it onto the turret, and bot gets a nice root out really far. That huge Seraphine range, nice CC. They get maybe a full tower plate.
Ults are up all over the board, creating quite the potential for any engage. It looks like Nunu loops around, but with the ult from the Echo, he barely misses the snowball.
Looks like Yasuo is trying to stay even for a little bit more gold. That Nunu looks like he's going to try and roll himself back in. Here comes the snowball start again towards the Echo. Hopefully get a pan over really soon. Here it comes. Nunu snowball going in. Looks like it connects. Yasuo doesn't want to commit onto that just yet with how low he is in the turret right next to the Echo.
Bot lane is still quite a bit behind, neither of them hitting level 6 so far, while the
Big
Misfortune
crits from
sits
them.
comfortably at level 7. The Brand just hit level 6, but neither Ashe nor Seraphine has hit that so far.
Huge gold difference in top lane, though. That Mordekaiser is going to be a threat to reckon with later on in the game with team fights, with that TP being able to rush down into a fight. He's going to be huge later on. He has a 40 CS lead, 2 kills, and 2 tower plates up on top of the Shogoth right now.
Constantly pushing in to Cho'Gath's tower with a 2-level lead on Cho'Gath. There isn't much that Cho'Gath can do to stop it without
Oh
help
my.
from Poppy, who happens to be on the bottom side.
These crits from MF are just going to keep chunking and chunking. It looks like she's bought a Noon Quiver pickaxe. Could be a potential Immortal Shield Bow run here this game instead of a Kraken Slayer or anything of the sort. No Eclipse from her this game. A little bit concerning almost. I'm really curious to see what she builds for the rest of this game. Poppy
Looks
might
like
find
the
it easy fun.
Herald was running out of time, so it was dropped mid lane. Poppy coming in just in time to defend. The tower still stands strong, getting a few plates off of it for it, though.
Nunu being completely CC locked down and picked out in the side of the jungle, though, with the Poppy Stun into the perfectly placed Echo W. I'm really sad looking for the Nunu right now with that huge 1-4 lead turning into a 5-4 loss now. They're still up
Very
200
rough.
gold, but it's looked like this Poppy jungle is actually going to dominate most of this game.
Absolutely. Leading 4-0. That is something we were not expecting to see from a Poppy jungle.
Echo being able to flip around that trade so quickly is disgusting damage of his passive, and really well placed W makes it a really easy getaway of, and costing out the Yasuo's Ignite and ulti. Looks like he's going to get re-engaged with the Brand there as well. We're also seeing the skirmish up in the top lane where the Mordekaiser engaging. Looks like this Stu TU is just going to walk away with another knockup. Echo might commit over with the E. He gets the vision. He blocks the Q out with a wind wall, flashes all, but still gets hit over by the Echo. We get another engage in the bot lane with the exhaust and the ulti coming out from the Seraphine, running her down with the free slows. If Misfortune just can't do anything there. Nice kill off onto the MF and bot lane. Another tower play goes to top lane Mordekaiser.
Mordekaiser absolutely dominating, chunking out Cho'Gath over and over again.
Already has a full Rift Maker at 12 minutes into the game. He's going to be huge going into later the fights.
Absolutely, he is scaling quite quickly. It looks like Mordekaiser is going to be the largest threat to the blue team, though Ashe is picking up the speed with 2 kills now.
Trinity Force has been completed by Poppy on her her first item here, the mythic item, giving her even more attack speed as well as that extra Spellblade damage that we've seen being added onto a lot of items in Season 11 here.
It looks like the red team is probably going to secure this dragon, though Poppy
Blue
steals the
comes in.
dragon with the ult, knocking the jungler away.
She flashed
Ooh,
over
but
the
Poppy
wall.
pays the price. Flashing over the wall, Nunu ult comes in, everyone flashes away, Misfortune ult comes over the wall, getting the kill on the Yasuo.
Huge Misfortune damage, but it's not going to matter whenever
Absolutely, the disengage now, massive victory for the blue team.
Yeah,
Very
1-for-1
crippling
trade
steal
with
from the
a
red
really
side.
nice steal. We'll have to see how they use that gold best. Now with that shutdown gold though on the Poppy though is really nice for the red team, but they're not going to get much out of that. Mordekaiser is going to be able to walk himself back up into the top lane and even potentially get the first turret before 14 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite the loss in the Dragon Pit, we still see that Mordekaiser going on strong.
We also see Yasuo building the really recently infamous build on the new Yasuo of Season 11 with the Gwynso is being built in. I'm probably expecting a couple more crit cloaks from him, being huge damage. Mordekaiser looks like he's about to take the first turret in top lane. He might tank it down for himself. No, it looks like he's disengaged. We got another fight going on in the mid though. He's having to kite away from the Poppy. Gets the knockup off, but he still gets stunned against the wall and killed off with Ignite from the Echo.
Absolutely,
Really
it looks like
big
this
pressure from
top
Poppy.
lane tower is going to fall to the Mordekaiser. Not
Looks like
something you want to see at only 15 minutes in the game.
looks to be like it's going to be a battle between the Poppy and the Mordekaiser this game. Both of them being huge threats, and they're both going to be getting huge spikes right now. That Riftmaker passive is going to make it Mordekaiser fights really, really good for him.
Absolutely.
Immortal Shield Bow was finished off by the MF now. Seeing that little bit of attack speed and lifesteal, a little bit of AD as well. Survivability, being able to stop from all the Seraphine poke and the Ash poke is going to really help her into the late game.
Definitely, definitely. It looks like Poppy is coming in to flank the Yasuo in the mid lane, but they pass by without any too major conflict. Looking at the bot lane, we see just a bit of back and forth poke. Misfortune still getting those crits.
Yeah, these Misfortune double up bounces have been really, really good this game. Not very good for our Ash, but it's really good for her with huge damage being poked out onto them.
We see Yasuo coming in on the mid lane. Is he going to be able to take out the Echo? No, he disengage. No, he re-engages. And what is going to happen? We see he misses the tornado, but still dashes back in, dashes away. Oh, and we see an Ash arrow barely misses the Poppy, but the Poppy gets exhausted and locked down. But he is on top
Huge
of
burn.
Ash. Ash flashes away, and Poppy falls to the Nunu ult. But the blue team is running in as the red team runs away because they are low from the previous fight.
Looks like it's going to be a red-sided advantage for that fight there. That Poppy, though, was almost able to completely burst down the enemy there, even after being exhausted and locked down for so long. That's what we're going to see a lot of, I feel like, with that Trinity Force build and that Electrocute damage. Huge damage for that Ash and the Seraphine, both being really squishy at ADC and support, making it easy to one-shot her just real quick.
Nunu getting that necessary shutdown gold off of the Poppy to kind of bring him back into the game. He now has an Aegis of Legion and the Bambi Cinder building for his mythic item. He does not have it yet, which is a bit concerning.
Yeah, it looks like we only have 3 mythics on the board right now. At 16 minutes, we have the Poppy Trinity Force, the MF Shield Bow, and the Mordekaiser Riftmaker. Not much of a mythic buy, especially with Yas in the mid lane with his gold. He spent it towards the Gwynso's first thing, which is really common with his recent builds. We'll have to see where he progresses forth later. He has the 2 crit cloaks that's been infamous with that build as well, making huge damage for later in the game.
Absolutely. We see there's a little bit of a conflict in the mid lane, but it seems not much turned out from it. Cho'Gath is on the defense down in the top lane with still more constant pushing from this Mordekaiser that really hasn't played much of a role in the rest of the game. It looks like he grabbed the Rift Herald while we were gone, and he drops it just now. We see another conflict down in the river. It seems 2 deaths on the blue side, but 2 of the blue team is up trying to defend against this Rift Herald with the Mordekaiser creating quite a detrimental threat.
The red team looks like they're rotating down for the 3rd dragon of the game, 2nd for their own. The Infernal Soul being the soul of the game. Could be a really big decision here. We haven't
Yasuo missing 2 tornadoes in a row, absolutely detrimental. He may pay the price. He still kills the Echo. Here comes in the Nunu. Ooh, the Misfortune flashes away, barely avoiding the pull from the Mordekaiser, and it looks like they're collapsing onto the dragon now.
without that Echo now, it's going to be a little questionable that he didn't even pull off his ulti there in that other fight. We get an immediate heal from MF, a really nice flash from Unwarded over the wall, the Seraphine getting away nice and smoothly. Almost getting pinched off by both the Cho'Gath. We got a Suthayu in the backline though. He's going to get stunned against the wall and bursted down to that Poppy almost instantly. MF getting the kill though. A nice shutdown for her as well, over 250 in shutdown.
Alright, so it looks like for this game we are seeing the Infernal Drake, possibly an Infernal Soul later in the game. And Duran, how do you think this is going to play out for the rest of the game? And what are we going to see for both teams with
This
these
game
changes?
This game, comparatively to the last game, we saw a lot of team fights coming out from the BSE side, but this game is looking more of solo picks everywhere across the map. With the invitation of the Infernal Soul, though, with the map opening up a bit more, and if they do get the Infernal Soul this game, looks like they can make it a better team fights potentially with the Nunu ulti, with the Yasuo and Seraphine synergy between the huge CC for everybody there. I'm a little questioning of how they, if the enemy team, though, the blue side, does pick up the Infernal Soul, how the Cho'Gath's going to scale into late game, and that Poppy being able to one-shot even faster onto even maybe the more tankier people like the Yasuo and the even terror that is Mordekaiser in the late game.
Absolutely. It looks like we see a bit of a conflict in the mid lane. It looks like the Yasuo may get picked off. It looks like the turret is going to fall, though no deaths on either side thus far.
The wind wall coming out just a little late to save up that tower, but it's being taken down. Mordekaiser's still solo pushing in top, though. Not much seen anywhere else on the map. TP down once. He still has it again if he need be. Looks like he's going to take his second turret down there while they get a second turret in mid. Oh, a Seraphine coming out, hitting all three of them, go straight in on the Yasuo. The Yasuo pulls in a double knockup with the Nunu snowball going in. The Echo gets another pick off, but gets immediately exhausted afterwards, has forced to flash out. Everyone's chasing right after. The Poppy's coming in a little late. The Echo old jukes him around behind, though. Seraphine trying to catch, but looks like they let him leave this time. That was a big double-sided fight. They take a 1-for-2 there. Sorry, a 1-for-3.
Echo making it away with that 600 gold bounty. Poppy comes in 1v3. Bit of a questionable decision, even though she is quite powerful, using the ult to knock away the Nunu. Now it's a 1v1 against the Yasuo, and it looks like the we see the smite to slow down, but again, it looks like the Poppy is cornered and may very well fall if they can catch her. Poppy
Looks
is
like
on
she
the run, but
leaves.
I don't think you can run away from Nunu. Though Nunu seems to be going around to try and cut the Poppy off. We see Ashe coming up from the right side, and then Mordekaiser coming up. It looks like the Ashe is going to barely miss the Poppy unless he sees her now. And
Mordekaiser making a
Poppy
huge
gains
pick
a
off the
lot of
Echo.
health from that flash, and it looks like this Poppy is going to fall to the Ashe.
The
What a
longest goose chase
chase.
I've seen. One of the longest
Absolutely.
ones. We had that beginning fight, though, as soon as Seraphine was about to be picked off, a really nice Zanya to get away from that Poppy burst. Looks like we're going to see almost another skirmish coming out there. Everyone's fighting over the top side. Not much of an objective to push now that top lane has been decimated by the Mordekaiser split pushing down there. Might look for another push in mid and a farming off from the Nunu into the bot side jungle with Suteu pushing bot lane again for blue turret being destroyed. That's now 4-2 turrets. A 6K gold lead almost from the red side now.
Looks like we have Yasuo down in the bottom lane, still split pushing. And with the Mordekaiser split pushing in the top lane. Quite the huge threat having to respond to all three lanes. The map pressure placed on by the red team is quite devastating.
It is not much of a team fight needed in a team. It looks like they're just spreading their numbers thin. They're spreading them nice and well with that. And Yasuo being huge with his own build being really far progressed, and the Mordekaiser, and both of them being able to 1v1 almost anyone on their team, makes it so that the blue team has to rotate more people down there, opening up other sides of the map. Really good macro play coming out from BSC this game.
Absolutely. We see that the Ashe, now 5-1, has overcome that gap we saw in the early game, being pushed out of lane and being significantly behind in CS. Still proving to be quite strong.
Looks like we have her on Kraken Slayer again. Once again, lethal tempo Ashe. Kraken Slayer is going to start shredding through any sort of tank that they might build in this game. The Cho'Gath's going to be the primary target with all of that. We're also seeing the Immortal Shield Bow is completed by the Yasuo now with the Gwynsos as well. Looks like he's going to start building into even more crit now with that second crit cloak there. He has a lot of damage, a lot of life steal. Really hard target to now lock down. If that Nunu hits any sort of knock of it, it's over for the enemy team.
Poppy now has a dead man's, allowing for her to rush down and possibly stick onto this Ashe better than before.
Looks like
Not
another
something.
fight's gonna start over this Drake, though, as we get into the fourth Drake of the game. Another Infernal Drake going down. We have the Ashe almost frontlining against the enemy blue team here, getting a little up close and personal with all of them. They're rotating down to the bottom side, though, trying to pick up the Poppy. The Poppy doesn't land the stun onto the wall, though. Looks like they might get a huge amount of damage. They cancel out the ulti. Yasuo ulti into the back, almost one-shots the Brand, going straight onto the choke-off. Choke-off gets bursted down. The MF ulti hitting a lot of them, but not doing enough damage. Gets immediately ulted out by the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser slams her down, and the Echo gets killed off on the top side. Ooh, half of the HP that Mordekaiser Q slams down and chunks him down, making a huge fight for the red side as they get another Infernal Drake. Poppy is still alive, but I highly doubt if another steal is
Poppy
happening
did
again.
steal one Drake before, but this Drake is going to the red team this time, putting them at soul point. This is very scary for the blue team. The red team is almost double the kills and up a significant amount of gold.
Yasuo picking up 3 kills that fight is going to give him a lot of gold there to back onto. That Immortal Shield Bow pickup is really nice for an insane amount of a burst, his lifesteal, and more attack speed for him for that Q max. Mordekaiser just pushing him straight down. He also picked up another kill out of that, but he hasn't back with that gold just yet, but he's still insanely strong with that Rift Maker passive going into his build there. 212 CS, really big character right now.
Definitely, definitely. It looks like we have the red team pushing in the bot side jungle. We see a conflict under the tower, and it looks like Yasuo is going to get knocked out, taking many turret shots over and over again, being stunned under tower. Not a position you want to be in.
Completes his Bloodthirster, though, and getting him a nice more of AD, some more lifesteal, and some more crit chance for that damage on that Gwynsto's on hit. Looks like we're seeing a little bit of a skirmish over the blue buff on the top side. Oh, the Poppy looking for the one-shot on the AD carry. There goes the Ashe. Poppy gets another kill. Misses a stun, but it does not matter with that Triforce damage and that Q. Deadman's giving her a lot of mobility to start running around and running people down and getting that position. She might even get a flank onto the Mordekaiser and Seraphine here. Nunes looks like he gets caught out, pushed against the wall, and knocked out by Cho'Gath. It's just chain CC after chain CC goes down. Can't do much there, not that they're caught out.
Dang, blue team making a little bit of a comeback here. Especially around the Baron, making an attempt for the Baron. We do have the Mordekaiser and the Seraphine possibly having a chance to go for a steal. But there are 5 of the blue team on the Baron now. Can the Seraphine take it with her ult? Hits 4 of the blue. One of them falls to Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser going in, massive AoE damage. The blue team does slay the Baron, but how many of them will actually get out alive? Ooh, we see a 1,000 gold shutdown from the Echo onto the Mordekaiser, but will Echo live? Ooh, we see that the Poppy is slamming down on the Yasuo, but it looks like this Echo is caught out and is going to fall to unwarded. Will Poppy be able to hide? No, she won't. But trying to kill Seraphine does fall to Ashe's devastating damage.
Baron buffs are completely deleted besides all the MF on the enemy team, making that Baron almost obsolete as the MF is only guarding her base from the top side of the map from that early Mordekaiser push. Really big fights going forward to the red side, though, getting them a whole bunch of kills. They're now up 8 kills against the enemy team, still a 5k gold lead. Really big looks for the BSE again.
Absolutely. Mordekaiser really changing and turning the tide of that fight, going straight in, taking it so long to actually remove him out of that fight, getting 5 people attacking him, and him still holding up strong.
I would have imagined if it was my shoes, I would have pulled the Poppy in, though, maybe to prevent the smite there, to then maybe prevent to gain the Baron on there to the side, but maybe the Baron was the only one nearby that he could have taken. Looks like we might actually get another pick out. The Mordekaiser Qs are doing work for him. Chunking them passive finishes him off. The Ashe there goes a little wide from all the way back in their base. Poppy's making another push onto the Yasuo. The Yasuo can't dash because of the Poppy W. He's dashing around, has a little bit of HP. The Mordekaiser ult saves the Yasuo for the moment. He's camping around him. Mordekaiser's doing a lot of damage. The Yasuo takes another knockup from the Nunu. Nunu ulti goes out to guard the Yasuo once again. The Mordekaiser's pulling the Poppy, gets another pick onto the Poppy there. Looks like we're seeing another just overall red side oriented fights here. Echo looking like he puts down his W a little defensively here. Nunu's pulling in with another snowball, though. Might look for another pick. Yasuo has no ulti to follow up on anything here. Echo's going in and gets immediately charmed and killed out by the Seraphine ulti there. Getting a huge shred down now of objectives as the red team makes a huge one-for-all push down the mid lane.
A turret does fall, and it looks like moving to the top side, they may very well be able to take down any of these turrets, but it seems the blue team is defending quite well, and the red team does decide to back off for now. Looking towards that Drake, which is now spawning in 15 seconds, going to give them that Infernal Soul. If the red team does not do anything about this, they are looking to be in a very miserable position.
Absolutely. Looks like this Yasuo might find the pick onto the Poppy. If they can pick this Poppy here, that's a guaranteed soul for them there without the smite and the presence of the Poppy Paw. Looks like they're doing a little bit of an invade before. The Poppy might find the pick onto the Yasuo though before anything else is found. The Windwell's blocking a little bit of damage for himself.
But
Seraphine
even
looks like they're
just
trying to
guarding the
support.
Nunu.
Mordekaiser just face taking the enemy team, and there the Infernal Soul is found by the red team here. They might try and trigger a reset. The Cho'Gath's tried to teleport into the Drake just a little bit too late. The red team disappears off the map, nowhere to be found by the blue team. Looks like we're getting another ADC carried game in the bot lane. The bot lane was doing a little rough, but looks like they funneled it just right into bot. And now that the ADC is 6-2 and 13, huge pressure all over the map. Mordekaiser being a huge threat. Looks like we're getting another late game follow-up. And we get an engage from the Yasuo down the bot. Looks like the Echo are being forced out. The Suteyu almost messed up the flash. Almost flashes into the Echo R damage. Gets slowed away though. Echo almost looking like he was wanting to re-engage there.
Coming around into the tri-bush, it seems they are running parallel to each other, but it seems they both disengage. Despite Poppy being so dominant in the beginning, it seems that Poppy has been continuously shut out of all of these fights by BSE.
Looks like the BSC is now learning their lesson, and they're grouping up just a little bit more on top of the Sutu. You might be found out. Oh, he gets the back off just in time before the Echo W finds him. That would have been certain death with both MF and Brand pulling up just there.
We see a lot of resets all over the board for the red team. The blue team desperately trying to push out waves and defend before the red team comes back onto the board. Objective-wise, we see the Baron coming up in a minute 20, possibly looking in that direction for the red game to grab that, and off of that they could very well end the game.
Now that everybody has their mythic items in place, every item they get is now just a little bit stronger because of those mythic passives on it. Everybody getting just a little bit more. We're seeing the Imperial Mandate coming up from the Seraphine instead of any sort of AP oriented item. We're seeing more of the smaller AP with more HP being pushed out so they can do more damage with off of that ulti.
We see a bit of a standstill in the mid lane, a little bit of poke back and forth, but not much. We see that the Mordekaiser is pushing in on the top side, meeting the Echo. The Echo is stuck defending the top side, trying to push that wave back out, as we see the Mordekaiser come back around to flank and grabs the Brand, ults the Brand, and yeah, that is a lot of AP going back to Mordekaiser.
That's a kill off of 2 of them for now for the red team. Red team's pushing in 5, man. I don't think there's much of a chance for the blue team here to defend against all 5. Looks like they might pick off the next inhibitor. They're yoinking the NF in the middle of her ulti. Might get a kill on top of her. The Mordekaiser just giving them the beatdown. Echo just wasted his R. Looks like the Mordekaiser might run him down as well. Echo dodges out just in time. Might go back in for the re-engage. Mordekaiser has his W just to pop in and almost half hits him with just a singular Q. Is not taking an insane amount of damage for what he should be.
Red team possibly looking to take this turret and possibly the inhibitor. Now what we'll want to see is whether they decide to back off and take the Baron after this inhibitor, which will very well likely ensure them the win, but they do not grab the inhibitor so close.
Poppy coming back up, and it looks like they can defend just in time to re-push out this mid wave. Now with Stu and the Ashe being both picked off, looks like the red team has to back off just a little bit and farm up a little bit more gold.
See Mordekaiser going back top to apply more pressure.
Ooh, a flash and almost a one-shot onto the Seraphine. The Seraphine will come in out huge, though.
Ooh, it looks like Seraphine, with the stopwatch, being able to survive a little bit longer, but does get shut down by the Echo. Though the Nunu is barely running away with her life.
Good try from the Seraphine there. Really good try there. The Nunu was just a little bit more damage for that Echo. Could have been a really nice play. Overall, they're still taking a big advantage with that top lane being pushed in. They might find the pick onto the Nunu. The Nunu does get picked off of the MF ulti. Just the last few ticks of it there. Mordekaiser about to find a top inhib without being contested. He has two people coming back for him though. Echo might find the W on top of him, might be the death of him. But ooh, the ulti being pulled out was really nice and gives him another chance to fight here.
Echo in one combo, shredding half of the Mordekaiser's health. That is very
1,000 gold.
unprecedented. A 1,000 gold shutdown going to the Cho'Gath.
Cho'Gath getting
Bringing
another
him
feat
back
stacked
into the
off that as
game.
well, making him nice and big for later in the game.
Absolutely, almost hitting 35 minutes into the game.
I think
Cho'Gath
that the
is getting
longer
quite big by now.
that the red team doesn't close out this game, the harder it's going to get with that Cho'Gath scaling as well, with the Poppy getting more and more resistances against the Ashe. The Mordekaiser is slowly starting to fall off from his early game spikes, and now he's just going to turn into a late game tank. Not much of a pressure as he had earlier in the game.
Yeah, he's almost hitting full build, needing only one more item. Wondering what it will be.
Almost a one-shot coming out on top of the Ashe, so Echo immediately forced to R, though. Nunu's going in with the Yasuo, gets a knock up onto the Brand. Brand is obliterated. No Echo R here, makes it a little harder for him to fight, though. He's now going down to half HP. Suzumu might come back in with another knock up there. Doesn't look like they can get much. The Mordekaiser TP back in, though. The Nunu point-click knock up, the Ashe ulti going fast and doesn't hit anybody there. Another huge Seraphine ult coming out. All these Seraphine ults have been huge this game. The Mordekaiser ult for dragging the Poppy away from the fight. Sute using the back and shredding them with a huge knock, a 3-man knockup, getting another kill onto the NF. Cho'Gath falls down as well. They only have one to defend their base. Looks like a red team's going in for the end here, getting another inhib before they end it all. Pushing down the mid lane.
It looks like our second victory for BSE. And that last fight, not a single champion falling. It looks like Echo is going to have to disengage, almost dying, ulting away. And it looks like this Echo is about to fall, but no, just focusing the Nexus now, trying not to lose it. And
Another
this is
dominant
the
game from
second
BSE.
win for BSE.
Another Ashe carry in the bot lane and huge ganks from the Nunu, giving them the win in the end.
Second victory.
third game, BSE versus BOF, bunch of feeders, BSHS Esports. Third game in a row now of the Ashe Seraphine bot lane, seeing a lot of success from it from BSE on both games, with the Ashe doing a hard carrying towards the end of the game. We're gonna see now a new
Absolutely.
new matchup though with Suteu in the mid lane on Riven mid against a Yasuo. Huge, usually favoring towards Riven matchup.
hmm This is the final game of the Clash tournament. Whoever wins this is crowned with the first place in this Clash tournament tonight.
I think the biggest impact we're gonna see, just like out of any of these other games, is gonna be through the bot lane though, and the jungle pressure.
30
How of
seconds
what
until
we're gonna
minions
see here from the
spawn.
Nunu and the what do we got? The Skarner on the red side this game.
Please don't make me try it.
All right, what do
I'm
you
not
think that we're
ready.
gonna see from here
All right, put your
this
back
game?
into it. Oh yeah, let's get down.
You know what? I think
Down with me.
the bot lane,
All right.
the bot lane on the red side is going to be looking for quite a bit
Come on.
of engage potential, trying to shut out this Ashe early before she gets the Kraken. But once Ashe starts rolling, it's going to be absolutely devastating. Looking at the top lane, if Ornn is able to shut out Kayle early enough,
Minions
then
have
Ornn
spawned.
may have quite a large impact in the game. But Kayle getting 1 or 2 kills will easily spiral out that top lane into another very strong carry like we saw with Mordekaiser last game.
Oh yeah, with all these new
That's
items
what
and the
call me,
new
baby.
huge buffs that each of them are giving, with Ornn and buffing them even further, we're gonna see a huge late game comp, I think, coming out from that Ornn side. But we're also gonna see a huge team fight from coming from the red side of the map this game, with the Ornn, Yasuo, Jaya, Nautilus, Skarner, all of them being huge in team fights here. I'm really excited to see what we get on either side with the Kayle invulnerability and even the Riven re-engages with the Seraphine.
Interesting move by the Ornn grabbing the Skarner crystal in the blue side jungle before heading back up to top lane.
Yeah, it's gonna make that Skarner cleared just a little bit faster if he ever feel like he wants to invade up there at any point.
It looks like we are having quite a bit of trades in the mid lane. Not a lot happening in the bot lane, dancing back and forth. Looks like they are healing up quite fast in the mid lane. Top is at a bit of a standstill. Kayle still at level 1, getting a little bit of poke on the Ornn. Now just hit level 2, but
I feel like in our top
waiting to see
lane,
what these junglers are going to do. They're about to meet each other at this top scuttle, and we will see where the game goes from there.
looks like we're gonna have much of a stalemate in top for the longest time. Of that Kayle went to farm the Ornn, honestly, just letting her farm to do his own scaling of his own. It's honestly just gonna come down to jungler. We're getting a little bit of an engage here coming up from the mid lane though, and the bot lane. Both of them are starting fights out in the middle of nowhere. Nautilus and Jaya coming out here with a big engage. That huge CC coming from both of them, the damage coming from each of those Nautilus are being huge. Looks like we might have another engage from Suteu getting his first blood in the mid lane against Yasuo. Hugely disadvantaged of the Yasuo fight in this game for them. Looks like our bot lane is being pushed under tower once again. Seeing another shutdown early of the Ashe Seraphine, but we've seen it come from the depths of pits of despair before. We'll see where it goes through this game. Ooh, a little hook going a little bit questionable, honestly, reaching around those minions, immediately burning the ignite onto the Ashe, and the heal coming out from Ashe and exhaust from Seraphine. Looks like a contest of the risk of it, though.
Skarner does grab the scuttle, but he may fall to the Riven. The Riven is running, has to flash away,
Nice
and it
flash.
looks like we will have a successful disengage. Now running back to the mid lane, Nunu's snowballing away to grab the bottom scuttle. No, instead going into the opposing... Oh no, going back into Nunu's own jungle, letting Skarner get
A
double scuttle.
disconnect from Suteu really early on in the game. This might be in some sort of pause from the Clash side.
That's a scary thing to see. Looking back bot side, we have the Nautilus trying to sneak around and get some cheeky grabs. Not very successful. Ornn being able to hold his own quite successfully with that aftershock, being able to get good disengages over and over again. Now knocking up and chunking the Kayle for quite a bit of damage.
hmm The Kale does have a whole now seven, not six, 7 CS almost at one point. Now going down to 5, holding a whole lane ahead of this Ornn right now up on top of that roam from earlier. Getting a nice hook down in bot lane though, forcing the flash onto the Ashe immediately. The Seraphine's having to repoke out. Looks like a disengage coming from the boss. Another re-engage up in tops of that aftershock, giving him so much take, but the Kale might run him down just a little bit. Nunu fighting out in mid, getting a huge chunk heal. Another hook down onto the bot lane. Might be a kill onto the Ashe finally after 4 engages down bot. Getting another kill. They might get one onto the Seraphine, a double down in bot side. One for the Jaya and one for the Nautilus. It's not looking super good early. This might be a Jaya running it down around in bot. Nunu holding out the middle,
Nunu
waiting
trying
for
to
that
desperately hold up mid.
Riven reconnecting of any sort. This might just be a lost game from a DC, which is really sad to see.
Absolutely devastating. Yeah, the Yasuo getting a plate, barely making it out. We see that Kale has not yet hit 6, coming very close. Can the Ornn capitalize on this before the Kale starts to scale very dramatically?
Still worried a little bit about that Riven disconnecting. Is still not coming back just yet. We have a Nunu rolling a snowball down mid though. Might end up hitting this Yasuo right in the forehead. Being able to defend off. Boom, there comes the knockup. Here comes a whole bunch of the E's. Might actually get a pick onto the Yasuo. Forces his flash. Does not flash
Yasuo
after
very
though. Oh, here comes the flash with the Nimbus Cloak move speed. Might be able to catch him, gets the extra auto off, and there's the kill onto the Yasuo in mid lane. Nunu looks like he might be even running to head up towards top side of the map here. Kale finally hitting level 60 in that nice range
This
now.
may be
Nunu
what
snowball
Kale
coming up.
needs to push ahead.
Nunu
If they
about
are
to hit
able
that
to shut
snowball.
down this Ornn.
Getting the flash forced out from the Ornn. The Ornn's might try and do a re-engage here. The Ornn might just shoot it out and leave though. Nice damage though from his side coming out. Brittle passive being applied over and over again onto that Kale. Kale might have to back off with no mana now. Bot lane making a little bit of a skirmish around the Drake side. Looks like the Skarner might be able to secure himself a Drake with the Nunu coming in top side, pinging their way towards mid though. Snowball about to smack Yasuo in the face. 3-man in mid. Yasuo hits a nice knockup. He might be able to just walk it out. Those Nunu snowballs do root him though. Everything going into the wood wall though. The exhaust comes out and for the nice slow. Ashley, they're still going out. The Yasuo has another knockup though. Might take the NATO back onto with the ulti. Does not choose to take it. Nice poke coming out from over the wall from the Seraphine. So still chasing through the jungle. It gets picked out by the Nautilus hook that was forced to flash immediately. The Yasuo gets away nice and safely. Really
Yeah, the red team does get this Cloud Drake. And we still do not see a reconnect from the mid laner. This is looking to be a dominating game from the red side with no opposition to that Yasuo.
Really sad to see one being lost out from the simple disconnect. Still trying to hold their own and not giving up. Might see a re-engage from the Yasuo. Yasuo popping his ulting onto the Nunu. Nunu might be caught out and dead. Oh, he misses the Q though. The Nunu's holding it out though. Q's for the HP. The Yasuo might actually get out. Oh, does not get targeted by tower again. Then we now see a fight up in the top lane. The Kale getting smacked around, knocked up twice into a fight, going really low, getting smacked around by minions. The PTA is not doing enough, and the healing is just not quite big enough for anything yet.
That Ornn really should have gone in with that large wave. A dive against Kale was very possible and could have gone very well into the favor of that Ornn, possibly shutting Kale out for a good moment.
Nunu
Stopping her scaling, but we do
back in on that
see a gank from Nunu on the mid lane, stopping the opposing Yasuo under the tower, and it looks like Nunu may get another solo kill on the Yasuo again.
Another kill. He's making up for the work of the lost Riven right now. Being able to push into that mid over and over to try and keep as much of the deficit. Hoping for that reconnect. A flash re-engage onto the Ashe though. Immediately Skarner ulted out after the Nautilus root bursted down by the Jaya root. Kale's getting re-engaged up on the top by the Ornn ulti though. Getting smacked around with Brittle, knocked up again. 3 knockups in a row. The reconnect from Riven coming out in the middle of the fight. Another Brittle passive might be applied out. The Q's gonna come out in a couple seconds here. He might just get shot out. The Kale's trying to do a small re-engage here, getting a little bit of repoke out. The bot lane now being dove under tower. The Seraphine might be able to make an outplay kill the Nautilus. Jaya doesn't quite get it. Forces heal, might die to the turret. The turret's doing insane damage, insanely low down in the bot lane on both sides. Nunu's rolling back up with the snowball though for maybe a potential pick and a re-engage. Ooh, the huge damage, and CC gets a kill onto the Nautilus though with a Q being huge healing for the Nunu there.
Yeah, these are the kind of things we're looking to see for this Ornn. which are really going to put the Ornn in the game, but the Ornn really just isn't committing, which it really needs to do if it is going to shut out this Kale. And instead, it doesn't commit further, and this is probably going to go into the favor of the Kale
A
this
little
game.
questionable there of not seeing the Kale try and do another auto or two for that Ornn there. A little scary. He has to force the back here. Might TP back up in time to catch the wave. He does catch it just perfectly in time. Ornn is forced to back off. Skarner is on the top side, and Suteyu is back in the mid lane against Yasuo with a 2-level deficit, though. And an insane amount of CS is being lost. 36 to be and 38 now. Huge CS difference.
Mhm.
3 levels down now. This is going to be a hard game to crawl back from now with a 2K deficit on the blue side. They're going to have to pull this back, but now they're at least they have the other teammate. They have the Nunu rolling back up in with the snowball, though. They might be able to make a re-engage here to get the stun out and potential. Oh, the Ashar coming from downtown, making an easy kill for the Riven to come back into the game with. Not much for an 0-3 Yasuo, though. Not an insane amount of gold, but it's still enough to get their wave going.
Blue team still a little bit behind in levels. Riven just hitting level 6, and Seraphine still stuck at level 5, getting caught out by the Nautilus, getting ulted by the Nautilus. We see the Nunu ult come out, chunking a good amount of the Nautilus, and the Nautilus does fall. Will the Xayah get away? And it seems she does. Nunu now rolling back up the river, but the Skarner is already gone.
A little questionable
dragon
flash at
fight
the end by the Ash, but it's still a really nice fight overall for the blue team, trying to pull it back in now with their also the reconnect. Looks like they might be able to pull out this deficit. They're still down 1.6k. They're also being re-engaged up on back on top. The Kale still has the ulti, but doesn't pop it in time and gets rolled over by the Ornn's ulti. Call the Forge God. We have a Yasuo. Looks like he's about to re-engage. A nice flash from the Riven here. The Nunu's rolling back up with a snowball. Might be getting knocked up again. He flashes into the snowball. Really sad for them. The ulti goes out but gets blocked up by the Yasuo wind wall. Might make a re-engage. Gets a nice knock up and boom. Immediately double ulted out onto the Riven. The Nunu is crushed down by the extra armor print from the Yasuo. Really sad, but really nice turnaround on the red.
Outplays the Nunu.
But hey,
But
now it's
back
worth a
to
little
the
gold,
Ornn.
right?
Yeah. Back to the Ornn, finally seeing what the Ornn was wanting to do all along, finally making that commitment to go all in and pursuing the Kale down the river, being able to snag that first kill.
That Bomby Cinder is really going to do work for him. We're also seeing another re-engagement. A 3-man charm, though, from the Seraphine. Maybe able to, enough to disengage. Another Ash ulti goes now. A double root from the Seraphine. Nice hitting some really long CC chains and making them be able to disengage safely. Really well played from Seraphine there.
That hook did come very close to grabbing I Am Probably Tired. It looks like the red team is now going to go for the second dragon. There's not much that the blue team can really do about this. Nunu probably should go back to farming unless Nunu can make some magical play, and it doesn't seem to be that way. And the second
Red team didn't have
dragon goes to the red team. We see another Infernal Drake this game, possibly looking for another Infernal Soul. But again, the blue side has not had a single dragon yet, falling very far behind, almost 4k gold behind. Not a good position you want to see, especially with a Kale scaling like that and not getting any of the early kills to be put in this carry position. A lot of this is now coming upon the Ashe, who is 0-2 and also not in a very good carry position. Instead, most of the kills are on the Nunu being able to hold off the mid lane, but I don't think Nunu is going to be able to carry this game on its own.
No. I don't think he will either. We'll have to see how this bot lane plays out because it's going to be a Kraken Slayer coming out from the Xayah this game. It's going to be some really nice shred on top of that. Nunu. It looks like we might have a re-engage. He also nicely, swiftly dips out. Looks like the Riven nice gets an easy another kill. Another shutdown towards the Nunu, though. A little misplayed on the kill participation there. So we might get another push down in bot lane, though, from the red side. He might take down the blue turret here. First turret gold.
Nunu getting the 5th kill on Yasuo. It is
another hook coming out and a flash ulti from Skarner decimating I Am Probably Tired with double ults there.
Garner really targeting the bot lane this game, shutting down the Ashe over and over again, trying to keep her out of that game and stop her from getting the Kraken Slayer.
Looks like Kayla is just doing her best to try and kite out an Ornn. Ornn with so many knockups goes for the flash knockup, gets the dash through and gets the kill on her. Really sad for the Kayla. Does really nice damage, but just not enough with all those knockups and Bombi Center immolate passive. It just makes that Ornn too strong. He is down a little bit of CS, but I think he makes that up just fine with his tower. Here comes a Nunu rolling in with a snowball. Might be able to make up that cleanup kill on him and get even the assist for the Kayla if he does it just right. And there's the kill, but no assist for the
There we
kill, but
go.
that's all right. Looks like we might have a
Yeah,
little bit of
rough.
skirmish coming on the mid lane. Yasuo being forced to exhaust, already exhausted immediately. The charm goes out and hits the Jaya, but that's all it hits. The Ashe ult comes really late in. Suta might actually be caught out in the jungle alone. Might use that
The
blast point and get
Seraphine
out just
very
fine.
quickly getting locked down and shut out of the fight.
That Seraphine being picked out and so squishy with no mobility makes them really easy to target once they're caught.
The red side bot, or the red side as a whole, now has all 5 of their mythic items, while the blue side only having 1, being the Sunfire Aegis on the Nunu, who is significantly fed. But for the rest of the team, it's not looking that great.
No, not at all. Looks like that Riven is still trying to go toward it. He just finished its Eclipse as I say that actually, so it's the second mythic item for the blue side. A little late though, like you said, compared we have already Immortal Shieldbow and Kraken Slayer and a Trinity Force all on the right side of the map. We'll see how this game pans out. Hopefully the Kraken Slayer coming out a little bit sooner than later for the I am probably tired on Nash.
We now see Kale enter her Transcendence form after hitting level 11, which is a very massive spike for Kale. Waiting to see what she's going to be able to do with that. We see Nunu trying to get a 3-man ult, but not having the AP power to really do anything with it and falling in the mid lane. We see Kayla's getting died,
No ulti.
and oof. Even after that level 11 spike, Kale is still too far behind to make any difference. We see the Herald is being dropped mid lane, and we may very well be seeing an early game loss for the blue side, possibly before 20 minutes, with the Herald slamming into the mid inhibitor turret.
Gold difference. This is looking very red
Absolutely.
side favored. Really sad to see the early game DC from the mid lane, making it really easy for the mid lane to get pressure on the rest of the map for the red side, and the blue side just not being able to keep up with one player down. They're doing their best so far, but it looks like just objective-wise, the red side's doing. Oh, we get a flesh engage from the Riven though with a full combo, almost one-shotting on top of the Nautilus. Oh, gets completely decimated by the Jaya Eve Blade Caller, destroying her HP. Nunu going in for the flash onto the Nautilus, gets a kill onto him. The Kale's coming up behind, might be able to get the kill onto the Jaya as well. As Jaya's trying to kite out, we'll get their E in just a second, get a Blade Caller, almost kill him. The Nunu goes out and gets another kill down. We have an 8-2-1 Nunu on the board, ladies and gentlemen.
Nunu should probably start building some AP power if it is going to carry this game, because it seems like not the Ashe nor the Kale are going to be able to carry or have a significant impact, and the Riven was so far behind from the DC in the beginning. It looks like the red team was in a good position to grab this dragon, but they didn't, getting caught up in that fight in the top side. It looks like that the blue side had time to wrap around and get their first dragon of the game.
Yasuo a little alone right here. Might be caught up by the Seraphine. The Seraphine finds him and gets chunked out, though, before they even do anything. The exhaust goes out. The Exonia comes out. Now we got a team fight. It's a 3v4. The Yasuo knockup hits him. The Iron Prototype flies over the wall. Gets a double man charm, but nothing else. The Yasuo Windwall comes out a little late. The call. The Forge God coming out. It's going to be a double knockup. Only one goes onto the Yasuo. The Yasuo, the Nunu will go into the middle. Can't find much damage. The rest of the blue team's backing off and leaving him alone. The nice flash from the Seraphine to dodge the hook from Nautilus. Really sad fight to see for the blue side. The red team decimating all these fights. That call of the Forge God from Ornn. Another hook coming out onto the Riven. Might be another kill. 3 knockups immediately follow. Nothing you can do about that. There's no cleanse for knockups yet, ladies and gentlemen. Might be another kill. That's now another hook and knockup on top of the Ashe. Just now buying their Kraken Slayer at 18, almost 19 minutes into the game. 3 people dead. They're getting a huge siege now. Kale's the only one up right now besides a Seraphine and base to defend. An inhib goes down, and it looks like they're targeting for the mid lane inhib turret. Nunu coming in. The snowball gets deleted. Looking like a
Again,
really
we
heavy
may
red
see
side.
this 20-minute end of the game. Though the Baron is coming up in 30 seconds, they very well may take 2 inhibitors back off, grab the Baron buff, and end the game. There's not
Ash, if he
much
finds
that
the
Blue
Xayah,
can
we
do
might find
in
a
this
pick
position.
here.
So we do grab a pick on the Xayah, possibly the Yasuo. The Yasuo flashing away to try and survive. The Nunu having a lot of speed from that phase
Ran
rush,
down.
slowing the Yasuo and trying to catch him, but the Yasuo makes it to the tower in time. Garner getting some scuttle vision around the Baron. And we see Nunu rolling up through.
Mythic
And
items coming in on the blue side of the map. Now it might be some sort of way that they can start pulling this back slowly. If they get the right picks and the right kills going to the right people, we might see another game
we
coming out for the bot
finally
lane.
see the Kraken Slayer. We finally see the Kraken Slayer for Ashe coming out. And the Eclipse for the Riven. And then the Imperial Mandate for the Seraphine. Finally getting their mythic items. We are still waiting to see what the Kale's mythic item is going to be. Ashe is very desperately defending against these super minions that are coming in on the bot side now. Ornn split pushing on the top side with only a Kale to defend, about to be collapsed on by the Skarner and the Xayah, using the ult and the invincibility to run away, but the ult, the call to
Warden might have
forward,
just killed himself
stops
a
him.
3-man.
Oh yeah, that 3-man ult charm, but it doesn't really do anything as Xayah also gets a double kill on the Seraphine. We have a skirmish out in the mid lane. Suteyu falling. Ooh, that ult from Debbie McNugget ended up killing the opposing Yasuo. Quite
Yeah,
devastating, but it looks like the Ashe gets grabbed with the Nautilus hook and the Ashe falls. Only Nunu is left to defend the base, and this next mid inhibitor falls, and the Nexus is about to be bust open as all of these minions are coming in. These inhibitor turrets are looking very weak.
Ornn buying his Forge Fire Crest, the upgraded Aegis in this now. I'm going to make him a huge threat, insanely taking a lot of damage. Debbie McDuggan being dove under her tower, there's not much to do. Gets away with a healing though, and a little bit of slows from the team. Gets a pick onto the Ornn. The red team is forced to back off. They might look for a Baron here with their whole team on the bot side, the Yasuo, or on the top side with the Yasuo coming back up, with the blue team left to defend their base, which is in shambles right now.
The red team really does need to make a play for this Baron because the blue team cannot contest or risk the super minions overrunning their base. And
Drake
it looks
coming
like
up
this
in
is
just under a
really
minute.
going to the red team. And the red team probably won't even need this next dragon. With this Baron buff should be enough to shut out the game entirely with super minions coming through 2 lanes.
100%. Even just securing it for the extra bit of damage and denying it from blue, I think that might be the secure of the game there. That might be just the GGs that they need.
And there we go. The red
11K.
team has got Baron.
11K cold difference, 7 kill difference in one dragon right now, with 8-0 towers killed right now. It's looking really red-sided, but we could see maybe a potential late-game Kale scale with the Ashe potentially getting enough gold to make some differences in some fights here, with the Nunu being able to carry through to the tank.
The blue team is now at an over 10k gold deficit. A very drastic disadvantage. Ooh, the Nunu gets grabbed by the Skarner ult, pulled into the middle, but the phase rush pulls the Nunu away, ulted by the Nautilus, and Nunu does get shut down, barely surviving for a little bit from the shield from the ult, but still ends up falling. That third dragon, that is the third dragon for the red team, and it looks like with their Baron buff, they are pushing in with their super minions to shut out this game.
10.6k gold, Lena. Really well played game so far from the red team, with a nice picks with the Nautilus hooks onto everybody in this game. It's looking really slim for the blue team right now.
Can the red side make a big enough force to actually win this game? The blue side is surprisingly holding off for quite a significant amount of time. Looks like they're going to try and get this third inhibitor. Ooh, a 3-person Seraphine ult. It looks like, ooh, the Kale ult comes down. The turret does fall. and nobody's dying yet. Oh, we have one death from the Riven. The Nautilus falls. Ooh, Ash gets a double kill. Ooh, both ADCs falling. Everyone is very low, but it looks like the red team has won this battle by a very slim margin. Nunu's still alive, waiting to defend, but you cannot do anything against these Baron buffed super minions.
If Sute you would maybe just nod DC
Oh.
early game. It looks like the Debbie McNuggets also gonna get picked off just before the end of the game here. It looks like this might be just the end,
Ooh.
folks. If Sute you maybe had been DC'd at the beginning, there might be just a little bit different turn of events seen from that last team fight there. That was actually both sided going back and forth, but
Nunu
in the
just
end,
not having enough damage
looks
to
like
make
minions
enough
are
of an impact,
shredding
getting
Nexus.
so fed.
GG's all around with
Absolutely.
the BSE taking second in the tournament and the FROV taking first place.